Alright, so in general the shape is okay, but obviously where it ends here it doesn't really follow what we want it to. So I'm going to delete that boundary surface, and I'm going to come back in here to, let's see, well, let's just go ahead and make a plane. Our first reference is going to be the right plane, and our second reference is going to be the end of this line here. Now we want to be careful. We don't want this plane to be normal at the end of this line. We actually want it to be offset from this right plane. So make sure you select the right plane as your first reference, and then that vertex as your second. So I'm going to rename this prop plane. Yeah. And yes, I understand the irony of naming it prop plane, but it's pretty self-explanatory. You would know that you're creating a propeller on that plane. But let's see. All right, let's go ahead and just sketch on this. And all right, so we have some interesting things going on with the geometry here. I'm going to create a spline, and what I want to do is make it pierce that. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Now you can see it pierced the endpoints where I wanted it to. And I'm going to tweak that out, and alright, I'm just going to OK that. Alright, I'm going to hide this plane, and let's go ahead and do another boundary surface. So now we're going from that sketch to this sketch, and let's use these direction 1 and direction 2 curves and see if that gives us something a little bit better. Alright, so that's a little bit better looking. It's still not great, but it's definitely looking better. Alright, let's look at this thing from the top. Okay. So really what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to adjust these curves. Let's adjust the top view of that second curve. I think I gave it a little bit too much here, maybe not enough here. Alright, I'm going to go do the same thing, the top view of that first curve. You can give it a little bit more there and have it kick in a little bit more here. Let's see what this is doing for us. Starting to look a little bit better, but this is still pretty flat, and that's kind of a problem. We really don't want it to be that flat. We need to have some shape to it. Alright, so sketch 52 in my case is the end of the propeller, so let's give it some more shape out here. See what that does for us. Alright, so it's still not working out great. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete this boundary surface, and I am going to create another offset plane, offset off the right plane. And let's look at this thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to offset it a distance. I'm going to do 500 millimeters. That puts it kind of in the meat here. And I'm going to OK that. We'll name this one prop plane 2. And let's go ahead and sketch on this. Alright, so what we want to do is we're going to use the pierce relation again. And pierce that, pierce that. Alright, let's look at this thing from the side. Alright, so where we're piercing these is actually still fairly flat, and we really wanted this thing to twist around a lot sooner. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some curvature to this. And in order to get this happy, we're going to go ahead and I'm just going to mirror. Actually, let me show you something here. Let's add some buttons here. Alright, sketch. Alright, so in sketch we have mirror and we have dynamic mirror. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add dynamic mirror to my quick menu. And I'm going to select that as my dynamic mirror line and just draw this spline here and start tweaking. Alright, so you can see what it's done is it's actually drawn two splines for me, and I am watching them in real time mirror each other, so you don't need to draw one, mirror it, and see how it looks here. I can be messing with both of these at the same time. They have an equal relation. They're mirrored across this line here. Now one thing to keep in mind is that's going to be the case as long as that dynamic mirror is there, so you're going to want to turn that on and off. And you can add it up here too as well. You customize, you come in here, commands, sketch, and dynamic mirror is there, and you can just drag it up and drop it up here, so you don't need to have it on your quick menu. And sometimes it's a good reminder to have it up here that it's actually pressed in. Alright, so let's OK that. And let's just go ahead and do a boundary surface between all three of these and see if we had any drastic change in what we were trying to make here. Alright, now you can see the green dot, the green endpoint on my last sketch isn't really where I want it to be, so I'm going to right click on that and do flip connectors, and it didn't really do anything for me, so I'm going to manually drag that around over here. Alright, so direction 2, grab those two curves and let's OK that and look at what we have. Let's hide that plane. Alright, so now we added a little bit more meat in that center section there. It's still really not what we were looking for. So let's do some more with these curves here and see if we can get anything better. So I'm going to adjust these from the front, and let's see, this is the back one. I want this one to end up on top. And this one here, I want to start going up. I'm actually going to drag that down a little bit more. I want them to cross, back here in the middle. That'll give me a little bit of room to play with. Now also keep in mind that since our sketch here and our sketch in the middle here, we use that pierce relation, these sketches adjusted with the change in curvature, but obviously they stretched out a little bit because we pulled this bottom one down. So we're going to need to go in there and we're going to need to adjust that. And this also would be a good candidate for dynamic mirror. Alright, that doesn't look too bad. It's certainly not ideal, and you can spend a lot of time getting these things just right. What I want to do